Hey, welcome back. And we were just chatting with Moshe Klein about accounting. But Moshe, as mentioned, you certainly have the business, the office here in Chicago, but also out in Arizona. You have launched a radio program and a small business networking and small business support group. Let's talk a little bit about that and perhaps share some tips with our listeners. What is the name of that networking group?
Oh, sure. It's easy to remember. The Power Networking Group.
Power Networking Group. So why did you get it started, and tell us a little bit about the chapters? Because I know many of our listeners are tired of Chicago winters and thinking about spending more time out west, which I can understand.
Well, it would be a pleasure to welcome anybody from the Midwest, from the snowblown Chicago area, to come out to the Phoenix and Scottsdale area, out in the valley, as we call it, and come out and network with us. We started Power Networking Group out in late 2017. Not that there's a shortage of small business networking groups out there. There was just a shortage of groups that were effective and efficient at accomplishing what I think small business networking group needed to do, and that's to stimulate and empower small business.
And in just over a year, you've already launched several chapters. I know you are in Maricopa, Arizona, but in the surrounding areas, let's name off some of the communities that now have a PNG, as you're fond of referring it, as where the chapters are located.
Oh, absolutely. Maricopa was our first chapter because that's where your mother and I bought our vacation home a couple of years ago, and it just went viral. There was such a need for it, Shalom. We now have 5 active chapters, and we're growing. So we have an active chapter in Maricopa, in Casa Grande. Both of those are in Pinal County. We also have very vibrant chapters in Scottsdale. Scottsdale is on fire, and we have...
literally on fire. I mean, when we talk about weather here, anything over the degrees of 20 is pretty much on fire, so that's already sounding pretty attractive.
Absolutely true. Well, I don't want to get off on a tangent or make anybody jealous, but we had lunch on the patio yesterday, 75 degrees and sunny, and anybody that comes out and networks with us, we'll give them a free lunch on our patio. The joke's on you.
You're the one that's spending the day out here, but sure.
That's true.
So
well, we're heading back soon.
Lots of successful chapters,
yes.
Which is great, and you're already making an impact. I know we've talked in the past about the people that are now employing their first employees as a result of the growth that they've experienced through the networking. But aside for the PNG, the Power Networking Group, which we'll share the website in just a moment, you are also now hosting a radio program and podcast out in the Scottsdale area as well. What station is that on, and what's the radio program called?
Oh, thanks, Shalom. Thanks for mentioning that. It's called the Power Networking Radio Hour, and we broadcast out of beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona on Money Radio, AM 1510, FM 105.3, and we are having a blast. More than just having fun and really enjoying the experience. I always said, by the way, I want to be like Shalom Klein when I grow up, and I guess I sort of did, but we are actually truly helping small business owners. We've got dozens of real-life examples of small business owners that came to Power Networking Group less than a year ago, just starting out, just dipping their toe into the world of small business, Shalom. They now are not only licensed and insured and bonded and actually doing business. They're getting leads through Power Networking Group. They're actually hiring employees as their business grows.
Well, you're encouraging based on the weather, you're encouraging based on the networking and the business opportunities. No doubt many of our listeners are starting to pack their bags right now. And I'm thrilled to host every week on the program a short segment with some business tips and some interviews on the program as well on the Power Networking Radio Hour. So lots of great networking, lots of great content out there. I could squeeze in a very, very short tip. You are certainly an advocate for networking. What advice do you have for our listeners that might be tuning in tonight?
Well, just get out there and network. You don't know what you're missing if you're not out there networking. And get out there and network in a networking group that you're comfortable with, whether it's Power Networking Group or a Chamber of Commerce. Just get out there and do it and stick with it, and you will not be disappointed.
Let's share that website real quick for our listeners.
Sure. PowerNetworkingGroup.org. and PowerNetworkingRadio.com.
Well, thanks for joining us, Moshe. And as always, check out our sponsors, TandemHR.com. To success, let's get down to business. We'll talk to you next Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on AM 560, The Answer.